everybody, welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well. The day is treating you kindly. So I got another read here for you. It is March 11th, 2026. I've been kind of holding on to some messages for a little while. I did record a message earlier before I left work. I hope that it's almost done uploading, so that'll be there soon. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up recording this. Alrighty then. So as I mentioned, it is March 12th today. All right. So the curator is talking about a successor, which is an heir, a replacement. These guys are talking about some kind of depletion. The curator is talking about the server, which is a person who provides a service or a commodity, a computer system, a host. A host with upper dimensional Star Nation Soul Tribe access, perhaps. A trapped star or sun. A consciousness, these ones used as a server to gain access to higher wisdom, perhaps. Many of these daughters of Eden and sons too were trapped as prisoners of war. So, they've been hijacking intellectual property of the divine for some time, and then they've been pretending to be them. They're very good actors and actresses. They're talking about a woman's achievements, and their master, or whatever he is, does not approve of her. So they have to eliminate her presence or die trying. Someone is talking to this curator about 2 or more people defending themselves. These are power couples, these are earth angels, and they're not backing down. They are sovereign beings of the upper dimensional space, and they have been trapped here but emancipated now from these lower vibrational people who get off on pain and suffering and fear. They're defending themselves, and these ones are having an issue with that. Sounded like a younger masculine calling these masculines sexist. They're showing prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination, typically against women on the basis of sex. These are women haters. And he said, to be honest, I think he believes that she's doing a better job than they are, these religious men, whoever these gurus are, or whatever this collective group is. They shut this woman down in every way possible. They all ganged up on her and brutalized her as one collective gigolo pimp. Unseen sorcerers, energy harvesters. They put tourmaline shards in her third eye. They put blockages on her third eye, her throat, her heart. They put death energy into her solar plexus on the regular basis, forcing her to transmute that while they were sucking on a straw and depleting her of up to 50% of her vital force. Raping her mind with all of these hundreds of people telling her how vile she was. She overcame them anyway, even when there was no man, no God, no nobody protecting her. God found her there in that hell hole after the curse had been broken, and he resurrected her, sanctified her. He washed away all of the filthy desecration that these Nazis had laid upon her. He purified her from the sin that did not belong to her, that these nasty jacks kept pouring onto her. It's like they got these golden nuggets into their little jar, right? And then they kept doing that transfer of sin magic, and they kept transferring it into the jar where these beautiful angels are. And they kept covering them in the blame and the shame. And that's why these churches tell the children when they're coming into the thing, you're a natural born sinner. Well, yeah, it's because they're putting the sin of the world upon these families that are going to them for guidance. They've been forcing the earth angels to transmute the sin of the world rather than try to improve themselves and stop producing so much of it. These trafficking pimps are furious, and they seek to end her 3D, and her spiritual life. They want to eliminate her from this authoritative position. They insist that it must be a man in the universal gatekeeper position. They insist that it must be a man in any kind of authority position. Why? Because they all seem to think alike. They believe that sex trafficking of women and children is a great business. They believe that sacrifice, blood rituals in war and terrorism is a great business. They believe that getting innocent families to come to their church and go to the church and participate in drinking the blood and eating the flesh of a human being, a actual human sacrifice ritual, killing the Christ every Sunday so that they can go home and be happy. They don't want Christ walking among them. They want to keep putting them in the effing grave. And they're twisted in their thinking. They think that that's not the way, that's not real, that's not true. They believe what they're told, that Christ really wants to stay in hell for them. And they do it every Sunday. It's sick. Oh, but he rose. He's in heaven now. No, you keep putting him in the freaking grave every Sunday. And the mother? Statue of perpetual sorrow, endless tears. Trafficked. While these believers keep putting Christ in the grave every Sunday. So, these men are very angry and jealous that she survived their most brutal attempts to destroy her soul. She came out, and guess what? There's no more Christ in the grave. Y'all got to carry your own cross now. Isn't that great? They all have to carry their own effing cross now. And they're sad, they're mad that this woman is in this magistrate position. She survived their brutality. And guess what? There's no more Christ in the grave. They're free. The curse has been broken. The mother is no longer a prisoner of war. And the beautiful secret weapon that her soul, her freaking womb, and all of that is connected to came back online. The bridge was mended, and everybody, and every masculine and every god and goddess of those upper dimensional Star Nation soul tribes know exactly what's been going on now with their babies. Of course, they knew before. It's been a war for a long time, but we had to have some insiders here wake up and then bust through, break through from the other side. So they're angry because your soul is still intact and you're not a withering pile of tears on the floor. The woman is still in control of herself, and she's been elevated and promoted. Their hatred for her and women in general is very obvious and plain to see. They really love to come in and exercise their authority over the wisdom that they say she does not carry. And the simple fact of the matter is that source connection is not religion. It's not a bunch of man-made rules. Thou shalt do this and thou shalt not do that. No, their God is not the one who gave her Rainbow Covenant and this universal gatekeeper authority. Their God is apparently Moloch and Baal. And they've been surviving on the energy and the spiritual gifts and inheritance of earth angels for centuries. Every Sunday. Every Sunday. A Christ goes into the grave. This fake Jesus has been keeping the illusion alive. But the curse is really broken now. It's strange, and I know it's sad. Most people can't see because the hypnotism is too great. So these entities are calling her militant, and they could be calling others that. But she's a graduate. She graduated at the top of her class. She surpassed 2 of their worldwide records. They gave her every coven of these nasty religious and otherwise sorcerers, these occultists, did their very best to destroy and defile her soul so that she would never rise again, so that she and Christ would never reunite. And it's too late. It has happened, and they want to eliminate her now. They're trying to talk to the youngers that are in the territory that actually like her to betray her and eliminate her. And I would say that to these youngers that they should turn these men in for being in the territory, receiving the charity, and still strategizing against her unaliving. I would suggest that they rat them out, tell on them, because they will seek to destroy the stability that they have been given and that is in their future at this current moment. So these RAPs, she's just tired of them insisting that they have rights to continue violating this sacred space, this safe haven that is housing powerful souls in the presence of these children. Their essence, their light is too precious to risk. No traffickers, no soul harvesters, no collaboration with them or anybody who does collaborate with them, no permission to have access to the souls or the minds of these highly valuable children and their families. These men are calling this woman dangerous. These pimps and RAPs of children, these SEX traffickers and brutalizers of the mothers in all of their aspects, these who have been gender switching men with the chemicals, atrazine in the water, estrogen in the canned goods, they dare to call she who has revoked their permissions to have access to these souls, who has ended their free handouts, their charity, dangerous. Well, they consider her dangerous because she's not supporting them anymore. She's not giving them the wealth that comes from these upper dimensional spaces. They are pimps and they are red rummers. They are consumers of souls, precious souls. They are identity thieves, and they trick their way into these upper dimensional Star Nation soul tribes, and then they attempt to dismantle the trees, the family trees of these spaces, and they try to siphon the wealth out of the clan or the tribe. And they do so by claiming that they are collaborating in a good way with these men, and I think they're doing mental magic and crap. But they've lost the daughters, so they've lost the special gifts, the secret weapons, those with the womb of power. They've lost it. So now they're like, oh no, it's like their illusions are cracking. So they must stay out of the house of these children. They and the children that will come from them for many generations to come deserve a safe place. Without a soul harvester, without a pimp, without two men wanting to be lovers and then spreading this mental issue around about how the mother is a bitch and we need to gang up on her and Corn Woman was dragged around the freaking field because Wild Boy convinced them that she was bad for them. And it happens over and over and over again. The beautiful divine mother, the beautiful gift, is destroyed by the paranoid delusions of these men. So they are debating each other on what they should do with this woman that God has elevated above them. God is elevating the women, the mothers, into their status of dignity and authority, and these men are beside themselves. They cannot let her push them out. They want to KID nap her and replace her. So all of these women that are in these upper dimensional, high vibrational statuses of authority, these men want to replace them because they're being cut off. Their true colors are seen. They're not godly men. They're not decent protectors. They don't guide or guard their family. They pop out babies from every freaking which way, and they don't even buy diapers or supply a roof over their head. They just let them go willy-nilly, drugging this, drugging that, tattoos all over their faces. And I got tattoos myself, and I didn't get one until I'm 50. But I'm saying, you know, that's what they do. They give them no guidance except for driving them into this path of destruction for others, which eventually comes back on themselves. And it's just the truth of it. You can tell, I mentioned tattoos, so I may as well say, you can tell who it is that has an actual story of a spiritual battle or something else is going on in their life. And you can tell those who just seem to be confused and they just like the pain. My tattoo artist, she's absolutely phenomenal, but she moved to Texas. She was going to start up water tattooing so that people who like the sensation can actually come in and get a water tattoo without actually getting the ink, right? Like a therapy. She was thinking about that. I don't know. It might be a good idea. So those who desecrated everyone must not only step down, they have to get out of this woman's house, this dignitary's house. They have to get off of the soil where these families and these children are running around, playing, having a good time. They have to get out. They are a threat to the safety and security of these little children and the adults that they will become. So they cannot have access to these souls. God said it's the end of their feeding on this family. It's the end of their relationship with batteries. They're trying to program the youngers to betray this magistrate, to take her position from her and give it back to them. These men who have been violating everybody in such a bad way are trying to get these younger masculines to betray this mother figure and set her up for another brutal torture death scenario. These youngers must choose whether they will betray God's chosen mother representative for the region. They will need to choose their path or imagine that God will choose one for them. Their minds seem to be malfunctioning, these masculines. They're not thinking clearly. They mentioned something about a chapter. A chapter could be an organization. Like, isn't it the bikers? They have chapters, or, I mean, there's something about that, right? Organizations have chapters of something. So they're mentioning a chapter. And someone mentioned the name Gina. These ones are traitors to the actual living earth angels. Those who possess and are their own source supply, connected to source, the light of the sun within them. They carry the rainbow covenant within them. So these entities, these men, they take their filth and they apply it to the children in their realm. And then after however long, they convict them of being that defilement. This magistrate is like, no, you can't come in. This is your history. You got to stay away from these children. And you got to stay away from their mothers. And you got to stay away from their fathers. And these men are furious. They're like, oh, you bitch, let me in. So they're discussing somebody's natural talent. The curator is talking about same-sex orientation. And it was his mission, his goal, to trans everyone into one body, one sex. They wanted to get rid of the mother, so they've been trying to make the mother more masculine by making her do it all, right? She has to be in her producing life, growing life in her body, pushing it out, and then raising it up. But then she has to protect it and fight for it and do all this stuff, as well as herself, because the one who's supposed to be doing that is too busy beating her up and probably RAPing the kids. So it's like, it's really messed up. And if they're not doing that, they've been gender switching them. So they've been becoming more feminine, and they don't really want to fight. They just want to, you know, be like the mother. And they're mad at her because she's so freaking strong, doing it all on her own. And they're... Well, excuse me, everybody. I think we have an emergency. Anyway, this curator, he had a job. He was to get rid of the feminine body and get rid of the masculine body. So he's been feminizing the masculines and masculinizing the feminines. And they were supposed to meet in the middle and be the one body, right? I guess maybe this is what they fell away from a long time ago, and they're trying to get back into that, this androgynous kind of a thing or whatever. So it's like those who are pushing for that agenda, they're not welcome in this territory, because in this territory, you've got a feminine mother and you've got a masculine father, and you've got children that come from them. And so these others who have been training and doing and manipulating, and it's just a horrible mess, they're not even going to deal with it. They're not even going to deal with it. God said no. God is mad. God doesn't want to supply money and support for that. Now, she doesn't have anything to say about what God says. God says this, and she's the representative, and she says that, okay? Because she's the daughter of the lion. And if this is what God wants in this realm to bring heaven on earth, this is what it's going to be. And no amount of whining, bitching, moaning out of pimps and freaking Julizias that wish they could have been a woman. I don't know. Look, man, I know there's the two-spirited people, and they don't have this mental issue. They don't have the same mental issue. It's just not. They're regular people. They're regular freaking people, man. But this is kind of whack. This is like a whole weird mental freaking hatred, freaking competition, kind of, you know, steal from the womb, because they don't want to marry a woman, but the wealth is there, right? Eternal life. They could harvest all that energy and freaking, and then feel like a woman, right? And go get there with their man and have a good time. But they got to tap you to get the energy. So anyway, his job was to transition everybody into one body type, one body style, androgynous. So they're talking about the silencer, and what's going on, I believe, is those who had been sacrificing trump cards and the roses, who had been tapping into the consciousness of an upper dimensional sacrificed being, are losing those connections. They can no longer have access to this upper dimensional wisdom and gifts, these special gifts like telepathy and like levitation and all these other things that they should not have had access to, but they bumped heads, or they did this reckless sex and they downloaded this stuff into themselves with this magic crap. I don't even know how it works, but apparently it does. So they're talking about the silencer. They're losing their clairs, and apparently they're losing their third eye sight, some of them. There seems to be a consensus about eliminating something, whether it be this woman or whether it be something else. I don't know. Please take it as it resonates. I mean, I don't doubt that they want to eliminate this woman. That's a given. That's been going on for centuries. And they never shut up about it. For the last 20 years, they never shut up about it. So the curator is talking about someone bringing an application to enter into this magistrate's territory, and they were denied access. The reason being that they prostituted people. And they said, well, you're the savior. And they were told that they prostituted people and were not permitted in the house of these children or the children that would come from them. So she ran back to the curator and told him, and he's talking to all of his buddies about it. She's not letting in same-sex orientation. Specifically, I believe, these men who have been violating boys and girls and women and men and all that. It's just they're hypersexualized, this weird freaking parasite. I don't know. They're from another dimension. I saw these guys coming from a mirrored door, and they were entering into like a farmer's field. This guy opened the door and comes right out into the farmer's field wearing a 3-piece business suit, a top hat, and a briefcase and everything. So they're not from here, and they're trying to infiltrate in this territory. Their favorite weapon of war is relationship, and their guru, their interdimensional guru guide, is telling them that they need to get back in there and marry into the clan. So anybody who's asking for a marriage contract needs to be carefully studied and quizzed, because these demon lovers, these rosy boyfriends, these rosieries, these freaking Satan worshipers, or whatever the hell, Moloch, Baal, whatever the hell, they're trying to get back in to marry into the clan. They said, somebody said, you stole everything from her. And one of them said, yeah, and we're going to do it again too. So there's this very serious business. You got demons out there who want to get back in and consume these souls. And this mother, this magistrate, is the only one guided by the God and those who are there to protect, saying no. But you got these nasty cornholio religious efforts out there in the ears of the youngers, trying to convince them with their mental, their little verbal magic stuff, you know. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. It'll be so good. It'll be so good. You know, yeah, man. They like the youngers because they haven't been brutalized, and they haven't woken up to the fact that these guys are just a bunch of scam artists, man. Offering nothing in return for a puppet, a servant. They want a servant, a puppet, to go in there and betray this magistrate who is giving them wealth and security and a place to live and a free, safe space to enjoy or discover the soul song and the connection to source. These masculine, whatever they are, they want to take that away from them, and they're trying to convince these kids that that's the thing to do, to betray this mother figure, this planetary stabilizer, this magistrate. So they're strategizing on how to get in. Last night's read suggested at least one female is already in the territory, hiding. She's socializing. She's blending in very well. She's an actress, and she's holding her own, I guess, as far as holding the mask. Apparently, the pimps, the females who recruit for them, those same-sex couples who actually hate women and wish to see them fail by getting with them, promising they love them, and maybe even having a child, and then going home to their man with all of the wealth that they can pull from the womb now, and the child's spiritual inheritance, and all of this. It's a nasty game. It can't be permitted to be here. Now, as I mentioned, two-spirited people don't play this game. They don't. They're not the same. They're regular folks planting freaking elderberry trees and growing corn and shit. They're very different entities. So they're mentioning something about blockages. Now, they've got blockages. They're blocked out of the territory. They're blocked from the charity. They're blocked from the finances. They're blocked from the food. They're blocked from this. They're blocked from that. They're blocked. They're blocked from siphoning the wealth out of this upper dimensional divine family unit collective. It doesn't matter about the skin color. It doesn't matter about the spiritual beliefs. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you there to build a family and to continue perpetuating the human life cycle? Or are you there to suck out the life and see that it doesn't continue? It's two very basic things. These men keep saying, she has to be innocent, she has to be innocent. So they're getting blocked. They think if they sacrifice this magistrate, if she's not innocent, if they sacrifice her into their utopia, or if they try to use her for their utopia, it's going to crash the whole freaking matrix. Their idea of innocent is different than God's idea of innocent. Their idea of innocent is a very fresh, very powerful soul that comes from the upper dimensions, that is born and has just been pushed out of the freaking vagina. That is innocent. And they love to traumatize it and gather up all of the value out of that soul and then use that to power their freaking utopia. And that's this bitch. And in the past, when I was really getting gang RAP'd really, really bad and energy harvested, and this one of these bitches, she was so freaking mean, man. She was laughing at me. How I was going to supply them their utopia off of my suffering, off of my pain. These maniacs need a rose. They need a pure, innocent, beautiful soul that's powerful and source connected so that they can maintain that connection. So that they can maintain using that powerful energy and those gifts to dominate people with. Because they don't have the energy or the gifts or the source connection. So they're trying to recruit innocent purity and convincing them that they're on God's mission or whatever, so that they can harvest their soul, man. It's sad. And they're trying to convince them that this magistrate or whatever does not have their best interest at heart. So they're pitting these young women that are in these churches or whatever, these pure ones, they're trying to tell them that they're the ones who belong in this position. Why? Because they're just pure, innocent souls, and they don't have the backbone to stand up to these filthy pimps. They'll walk right over her. So they're trying to convince her to muck it up. One of them was already there, and God, I saw her eyes go, because God stood right there and he told her to step down, that the position was not for her. So she went back and told the curator this, and that's how I heard it, because I heard the curator say it. I couldn't hear what he was saying to her, but she went and told the curator, and the curator repeated it, and then now I'm telling you. But I did see her like this. They want her. If they put her in this place, then they'll just take her out, man. It's like, it's so sad, because these innocent pure ones, they don't know about the manipulation. They didn't have to survive decades of this torturous brutality, this mental undoing that you had to kind of redo. It's like they were tearing the mind apart, but it's like I had to rebuild it. Like as they were tearing it apart, I had to put it back together. It was a strange freaking cycle that went on for over 20 years. So anyway, they're stalking folks. They're stalking them. And again, they mentioned Amazon, like they're targeting specific addresses or something. Or maybe you are an Amazon in the spirit, divine feminine. Someone is told to proceed with caution. So this magistrate is a titan, a giant, an Amazon. And these filthy little nasty jacks are told to proceed with caution. They're using these youngers to get in there to try to betray her, to Judas her. And there's at least one feminine in the territory waiting to sabotage her. They're being told to proceed with caution. Somebody said excitedly, She's a Libra? Now, I don't know if her zodiac is Libra. It could very well be. So they could be targeting a Libra who is bringing about justice, who is calling justice down, guided from above. Somebody said something about no remorse. Those people who don't have any remorse are getting judged and thrown out. The scales are being balanced. Now, she could be a Libra, or she could be somebody who is balancing the scales. Take it as it resonates. A female sounded like she was in the distance, and she said, "Oh my God, I don't need the whole kit." You know how it is when something breaks down and you only need a little piece, but you have to buy the whole freaking kit to get the one little piece, and it's really expensive. Apparently that happened. And she may not have the money for it. There's a collective group of masculines coming down hard on this magistrate. They've stolen her honor lifetime after lifetime and brutally tortured her to death many, many times. The mother stated that this is her last lifetime story. The father and her protectors are saying these ones will never take anything from her again. Her life means their punishment. God is not playing this time. It's been too long, and there has been too many torturous brutalizations of her and those people that she is here to assist in being their better self. These nasty pimps who've been effing and RAPing everything and everyone want to continue doing that. It will not happen. They will be destroyed. So they are, this woman she's fighting for the right to live, to stay in her body, her flesh temple. This woman has been fighting a whole world of pimps, desecrating everything. She survived, she broke through, she was noticed, identified, and led into an ascension and raised into this dignified status. And everybody who could not destroy her is still there wanting to get it on. They're not stopping. These men want to destroy her, to consume her soul. They want to prostitute her flesh and her soul again. Her womb of power they wish to desecrate, even worse than they have been. These pretenders are doing everything that they can to get her rejected from this territory, thrown out. They convicted her of a crime last time, and it was false. She was not guilty. And then they tortured her to death. And they've been doing it over and over and over again. They want to gang RAP her so bad. They want to violate her soul so bad. They're calling her militant. And it's because she's no longer laying down so that they can just stick it to her. She's saying, get out. Get out. That's the message.